Today I am going to be reviewing a book that was requested by one of you. I am going to be giving you 5 quickfire reviews of 5 non-fiction audiobooks. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel at least twice a week, and then movie reviews or book to movie content here at the weekend. All of my social links are in the description box below, including my blog and my Goodreads in case you want to keep up with my reading or watching in between times. And yes, one of these books was requested by one of you, and a couple of these others I just loved so much I decided to make a video bringing all of that together. So I'm going to be talking about 5 audiobooks, giving you 5 quickfire reviews of these. I have a whole audiobooks playlist, so I will leave that linked up above. I've made a few videos about audiobooks specifically, and I also have a non-fiction playlist as well, if non-fiction is more your jam than fiction. So I will leave that linked up above in a minute or so. So the one that was requested for review is Sorry Not Sorry by Naya Rivera. Obviously, this is somewhat of a timely book right now, given the fact that, unfortunately, this actress has just died. And so this was already on my radar, and it's really spooky because I was looking up things to do with Glee and the Glee cast one night, and then the next morning it was announced that she was missing. So that was a little bit spooky for me. I do feel partly to blame for that, but I'm sure it's not my fault. But this is narrated by her as well as being written by her, and I think it came out 2016, 2017. I know she mentions 2016 quite a bit. And if you are a Glee fan, obviously you will know Naya from Glee, but she doesn't just talk about Glee in this book. One of the things that most surprised me in this book was how transparent she is about money, and that's one of my big takeaways from this book, was the fact that she talks openly about money, about what she does with her money, about having money and being a child actor and what that looks like, her relationship with her parents because of money, and then her relationship with partners because of money as well. And she kind of goes back to that subject quite a few times in various different chapters, and I just got a new level of respect for her because of the way she talks about money. Some of the way she talks about things, you can tell that they're being written about by somebody who is in their 20s as opposed to somebody who is older, and so she does come at things from a slightly less mature point of view than a lot of the memoirs I do read. But quite a lot of these non-fiction books have been written by people who are under the age of 40, so that's quite interesting. Obviously the fact that she reads this herself makes it feel like she's talking with you. I read it in one sitting, I really enjoyed it, and if you have any interest in her at all, then I would recommend this one. It's quite a quick read, and really interesting and eye-opening, and like I say, she talks openly about money, which is a good thing. This does come with care warnings for eating disorders though, so just be aware of that. Then we have one that I was just blown away by. This one wasn't really on my radar until I saw someone share it on Bookstagram, and this is Weird But Normal by Mercado, and I listened to this one on audiobook as well, and this is basically a collection of essays. The synopsis is essays on the awkward, uncomfortable, surprisingly regular parts of being human, and then it gives you a list of the essays that are included, and this gives you a really good perspective of I think probably why I love this audiobook so much, but also what you're getting when you pick this book up, including depression isn't a competition, but like, why aren't I winning? My dog explains my weekly schedule. Mustache lady. White friend confessional. Treating objects like women. And this writer writes for Bustle and has sort of published elsewhere as well, but this collection of essays is just absolutely spectacular. It was a total cover pickup, but I love things that just talk openly about the weird things in life that we just don't talk about with one another. And the big reason that I love this audiobook so much is the fact that when I'm listening to an audiobook, I don't often find myself laughing or crying. Whereas if I had picked up the same book as a physical book or maybe even an ebook, I would have that reaction to it. But this book had me laughing so many times throughout the book. Obviously, there are some serious matters dealt with in this book. The title of the first essay tells you that. But there are moments that just absolutely made me just laugh out loud. One of my favourite essays, well, I absolutely loved Attention Target Shoppers. This store is now rife with sexual tension. Absolutely love that. But one of my favourite essays is Bath & Body Works is the suburban nonsense I crave. Let me just read you the very start of that one and you will know exactly why I was laughing through the entirety of this one. Today I am here because I need candles. This will be the first of many lies I tell myself on this trip. There is no scenario in which scented candles are a necessity for anyone. Are you performing a seance that only summons demons with a realistic sugar cookie scent? Do you only work by cherry blossom candlelight? Or are you just committed to perpetuating the lie that your home naturally smells like fruity ocean water, despite living in a landlocked state and having to Google bergamot orange, real fruit or just candle smell? No one needs candles. But if you're going to come with me on this journey, leave your bullshit attitude about my priorities on that mall bench next to all the disillusioned dads. And I mean, that's just the intro to that essay. This book is just wonderful and beautiful, and you will thank me once you have read it. Do the audio. It's fantastic. I loved it. I have this library book copy, but I feel like I want a copy to reference back to, because having just looked at the contents page just now, I'm like, I need to read all of these essays again and I need to tab them up. I adored it, highly recommend. Of course, it will be linked in the description box below so you can get yourself a copy. Then another audiobook that I listened to that is open and honest and fabulous, and I have a full review of this one already on my blog. This is Mumlife by Louise Pentland, who of course is a YouTuber here on YouTube, a British YouTuber and also an author. I have reviews of her fiction novels, the Wild Women series. It's a trilogy so far, and I have reviews of, I think, 1 and 2, or I have reviews of 2 of them here on this channel, so I will leave those linked up above. But I was eager to get her nonfiction book that just came out this month, and I pre-ordered it on audiobook. It came out in the UK on the 6th of August, and I did, yes, pre-order via Audible. So this one is What Nobody Ever Tells You About Being a Mum, and it is narrated by Louise as well. So if you are used to her channel or her Insta stories, you will instantly feel familiar as soon as you pick this one up. And if you are not a fan of her channel, but you are there for the mum life, then her reading these stories to you is also really, really kind of connecting and really interesting. And there are moments where she's talking about her own mum, who she sadly lost, where she does tear up. And so this is just a brutally honest audiobook, and I would highly, highly recommend the audio if that is accessible to you, because of those honest moments where you can hear her either being very excited and happy about something or very sad and moved by something. Some of the best bits in here for me were her dating stories, which she did talk about a little bit in her videos. They brought me back to being in my car on my commute home and playing her videos through my sound system. So I wasn't watching the videos, but they were the type of sit down chatty vlogs that she was doing. And so I would just play and listen to the audiobook on my commute home, and it totally took me back to those times when she was dating and talking about it a little bit on her channel. However, we do get some extra inside info into that in the book. And although it's called Mumlife and I am not a mum, I could relate to friends and relatives who have young children, or who are single parents, or who are dating parents. And so even though I am not a mum, I could 100% access this. This one made me laugh and also made me cry. I think the fact that you could hear Louise crying as she was reading it made me cry too, and I did tear up a couple of times, and it made me want to speak to my mum, which one of the reviews of her books I actually did with my mum, so definitely check that out. But highly recommend this one, and really do recommend the audio if that is something that you can access. Then another one that I have a physical copy of, this is Queen Meryl, the iconic roles, heroic deeds and legendary life of Meryl Streep, and this is by Erin Carlson, author of I'll Have What She's Having, which I need to go ahead and read. Okay, so I pretty much listened to this one in one sitting as well, because the audio was just so fantastic. In the actual book itself, there are sort of sidebar moments and also some photos and things like that, which you obviously do miss out on if you are reading the audiobook. And there are also some illustrations in here, which is why I decided to get the library book out of the library as well, so I could have a flick through, revisit the bits that I really enjoyed as I was listening to the audiobook, but also look at the pictures and the drawings and kind of how they did the sidebar. As you're listening to the audiobook, it does tell you that there's a bit of a sort of author's note, or I can't remember, they take a recess or something and they do a little bit of information. This book pretty much goes through chronologically, but it talks about the other side of Meryl Streep's life, her sort of campaigning side and her support of working mothers, and how staunch of a feminist she is, and an intersectional feminist at that as well. It talks about her kind of attitude towards receiving awards and accolades, and then of course it does go chronologically through her life and career. It was really interesting hearing about her relationship with Cher and their kind of friendship, which is sometimes rocky at times, and then thinking back to when they were together, but they weren't together, but they were together briefly in Mamma Mia 2, and then kind of the fact that Mamma Mia and Mamma Mia 2 does stand out a little bit compared to some of the other films that Meryl has made. This really did make me want to go away and watch some of her films, and so I got it's called a binge box from my library that's basically like four Meryl Streep films on the one DVD, so I can sit and binge those. And I realised I haven't made a book versus movie for Devil Wears Prada on this channel, so if that is something that you would be interested in seeing, let me know in the comments and I will get on that. Any excuse to watch Devil Wears Prada and read the book again. Of course, love Lauren Weisberger. But yeah, really recommend this one. Even if you have just a passing interest in Meryl Streep, it's interesting hearing about her and her within the film industry as well. But the actual book itself is rather beautiful. It's one of these naked hardbacks, and it's got the soft touch to make this colour pop. I really love the way they've done the cover as well. So maybe if this comes out in paperback, I might consider getting myself a copy, or if I see it on my next trip to Second & Charles. But right now I have the library book to flick through and fondle, so that will do me. And then finally I have another self-read memoir. So we've had 4 out of the 5 of these books have been read by the author. I borrowed all these audiobooks from my library except for Mumlife, which I pre-ordered from Audible. I got this one from my library, and this one is A Very Punchable Face by Colin Jost. Colin Jost you will probably know either from being the host of Weekend Update and co-head writer of Saturday Night Live, or from being engaged to Scarlett Johansson. I feel like I know him more for the former, but it was interesting hearing about his kind of take on the fact that he is photographed on the red carpet, which is with his much more famous fiance. This one also made me laugh out loud. Obviously, he is a comedy writer and has been a comedy writer basically his whole life. and it was really interesting hearing about his background, his whole family work within like the Staten Island firefighters somewhere. They all live within spitting distance of each other, and so it was really interesting the fact that he kind of branched off and did something completely different. He was also on The Weakest Link. I'm really intrigued by that. I want to watch that episode of The Weakest Link. I haven't seen the American version of The Weakest Link, but I would watch that episode 100%. And then it talks about the length of time that he's been a writer on SNL. I think because he only came to Weekend Update fairly recently, we think about him being a fairly recent addition to the cast, but actually when he joined SNL, it was, you know, one of my favorite casts to go back and rewatch and, you know, watch the odd sketch on YouTube. And he also talks about some sketches that really worked for him and some sketches that really didn't work for him. And then he talks about his personal life and in his relationship with his family and friends. And I think those were the parts that had me laughing out loud the most. The amount of times he has soiled himself or required stitches on his very punchable face. And so if you are looking for something that's kind of light and honest but not quite as in-depth as some of these other ones, this one was really interesting to listen to. He reads it himself, and there are plenty of anecdotes that will make you laugh in here, as well as some very honest moments surrounding being in New York during 9/11 as well. So there you have it. Let me know in the comments what you think of this format of video, 5 sort of quick fire audiobooks. Are you interested in more non-fiction? I can make more videos about non-fiction if you would like. I read quite a lot of it. Are you interested in audiobook recommendations specifically? It makes up such a giant part of my reading, so if you want to hear more about that, do let me know. Talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you want to see. As I say, this first book was requested by one of you, so always happy to make those videos that you actually want to see. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know. Make sure you are subscribed so my next video lands in your subscription feed. I have some exciting content coming your way, so hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. And I will be back with another video for you very soon. Thank you for watching.